This is Larry the Barberman, and today I am with Chris Bossio and I am with Christian Perez. These guys are equal partners of the barbershop called Headlines Barbershop, which has 7 locations. They've acquired the 7 locations in a 4.5-year period. Both Chris's have very successful YouTube channels, their own product line called Tomb 45, and a range of apparels. And today we are at the Connecticut Barber Expo 2017, and I'm just going to open these guys out, get their stories. Both of them are doing very, very big things and giving a major contribution to the barbering industry. So guys, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. You could be in there making dollars, but you're out here sharing and giving as always. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. You've got 7 shops and you've acquired these over a 4-year period, and these shops came around from your dissatisfaction in your lunchroom, as you call it. We call it a back room, you call it a lunchroom. Tell me your story from the beginning.
Sure. I think the story, it starts with Christian because he had the idea to open his own shop. I always had the ambition to open my own, but it just started getting worse and worse, the situation, and he was always talking about, dreaming about opening up his own shop, and I motivated him to do it. And he eventually did it after one day we were just so displeased with the situation. We went in the lunchroom complaining, and it got to that point where he was just like, freak it, let's do it.
I'm done. Yeah, he was a big driving force when it came to open the shop. For me, it was more of a dream. I want to open up a shop one day. And Bossio is the type of person that there is no one day. The moment is now. Seize the moment and run with it. So he just pushed me to do it, and we haven't looked back since.
Okay. Tell me about the first shop. Was it very broken down?
First shop?
Nice shop.
First shop, first day, first hour. Major rainstorm. Power went out in the entire plaza. Halfway through a haircut. I didn't think we were gonna make it.
My client had like bald head. I just got done balding him out for that first guideline. He had to call out of work. It was scary. How many heads did we cut that day? It wasn't very many.
Probably like 3, literally.
3
power
combined.
went out, and it's one of those things where they say it's good luck if it rains on your wedding day. I didn't think it was good luck. I was nervous.
Here's the thing. People ask me all the time about kind of sacrificing and going from being an employee and getting your barber's license and finally making that transition, especially when you have family and stuff. Like we both had kids and stuff at the time. It is scary when the first day you open up a shop, it's hoorah, hoorah, and then doesn't go as planned. And then you're scared, you're thinking, how am I going to pay my bills? You're thinking, dang, did we really mess up? Is it true that the grass isn't greener on the other side? It gets scary, and at that moment, we were friggin' petrified, bro. And I tried to be the strong one and be like, Perez, don't worry about it, we're good, don't worry about it. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to get a job at Walmart or something on the side. But you know what, it takes a little bit of sacrifice. It takes a little bit of that fear to make something great happen. And 6 months later?
6 months later, we opened up the barbershop with 8 chairs. And I remember having lunch with Bossio, and we couldn't decide, like, man, how am I going to feed 8 families? And I remember Bossio saying, 8? Man, this is going to have 12 barbers in here. And I'm looking at him like, you must be crazy. Like, what? 12 barbers? Like, I'm trying to figure out how to feed 8. 8 families, not 12. He's looking at 12. And 6 months later, we had to remove the pool table and add 2 more stations.
Yeah.
And that shop has now been open 4.5 years, and we have 12 barbers. So I don't know if it's a profit or what the deal is.
No, actually, we're looking to expand it.
Expand it, add possibly 2 more. No, 2 more in that location.
Put more chairs in that barbershop because
there's so much volume in that location that it's just, it's ridiculous. There's no breaks, there's no time. It's just busy. It's busy Monday through Saturday, every day.
And you guys are based in Florida?
Tampa,
Florida. Okay. So you have an unusual ethos that ensures your customers receive the very, very best customer service experience and experience in itself. Tell me your ethos and what it is you instill in your staff to make your shop a success.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're not employees. A key word for us that a lot of people throw around and we take it serious is family. We treat our barbers like family. Where we were at, it was I don't know, it was, for lack of a better term, just you felt like you were being held back. Where we wanna be a collection of brands, and if somebody wants to grow or start a YouTube channel or start a brand of their own, we're here to help. We have 7 barbers that have gone on to open their own shops, and we've told all of our barbers we'd be willing to help them. I'll help you open up your shop. I'll help you find the chairs. I'll help you find the stations. I'll help you, go over those hurdles that we went through, that we've learned. Because as we've opened the second and the third, you learn from each one where the hurdles are and how to get past that. So I think that type of attitude and approaching staff, because they're not our employees, that way it just creates a culture. They want to help you because you help them so much. They want to be a part of the family and the culture, and it just rolls.
It makes them want to thrive, and the business and the barbershop thrive at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? It sounds a little easier than said than done, because
Not everybody's like
every barbershop owner they say that all the time, and especially when they're barbers first. But sometimes we forget that we want to be barbershop owners at one point too, and we forget that barbers want to come in when they want, they want to leave when they want. Their own, their business, right? They want to be able to do what they want to do, and that's cool with us, but you won't make money that way, right? And if that's your attitude, then that's really not our culture. So people start to weed themselves out. We don't fire people. And that's another thing that people like. Other bosses are like, what? You don't fire people? No. If you don't want to be a part of the culture, you're gonna be miserable here. If you're miserable making more money, if you're miserable at a place that has no ceiling, we rented an RV to get here because we had so many barbers in our shops that wanted to come too, that wanted to be a part of 245, not just headlines. We rented an RV for them, packed it up, and we all came. That's the type of things we do. If that's something that you're not happy with, then
it's almost like they kind of sort themselves out. Like you said, we don't fire, but you feel like you stick out like a sore thumb so bad that you kind of fire yourself.
And here's the thing: those guys that are on the RV, they're gonna tell the people that went to barber school with. They're gonna tell their friends that are barbers at other shops who are fed up with the owner that are there. Hey, how's it going over there at Headlines, bro?
That was
the stories they can tell just in that RV trip. You know the amount of stories we created there, the brotherhood that we built there, and people want to join things. They don't want to start things. So when there's something to join, when there's a culture like that, we got a waiting list of barbers that want to come. They're our clients. They're the people we need to make happy. And when you make people happy in those ways, then they're just gonna make their clients happy.
It trickles down.
It trickles down.
So just to add to what the guys have said, they basically said they do not teach their staff customer service. They look after their staff at the top end, and it just trickles down organically down to their customer base. So it's something I've never really heard, but I can see how it works.
Well, at the same time too, we don't so much teach or enforce, but we also lead by example. When 10 people walk through the door and you greet those 10 people constantly, you answer their phone a certain way, and you say goodbye to everybody, people start to kind of, okay, this is the way that it is. We don't so much teach, we just lead by example, and it just kind of falls in line.
Yeah, and one of the things I mentioned earlier with a private conversation with you, Larry, was how we hire. We don't even check to see how good your haircuts are.
No.
And it's one thing you can teach. We have YouTube channels. We teach a lot of people how to cut hair. Anyone can learn how to cut hair if you're committed, but you can't teach somebody how to be a good person, right? So many barbers, the first thing they look for is how good of a barber somebody is. How good can you cut hair? That just makes you a hair cutter. That doesn't make you a barber. There's a lot more to being a barber. So if you got everything else on check, I'll teach you the haircutting part, right?
We have a podcast as well that we started. That was one of our main questions that we would ask people: passion or talent? And I think we both fall in line with passion.
Yeah. So
I'll take passion over talent any day.
Okay, so let's move on to your YouTube channel. You've got your YouTube channel up to nearly 120,000 subscribers. By all accounts, it's a highly successful YouTube channel. Tell me in your own words, what your channel is all about and what it is you focus on delivering to your subscribers. Directed at Chris first.
Sure. For me, when I started my channel, it was funny because the first video I did was terrible. It's still up. It was horrible. And everybody would be giving me tips on, what they think I should do. Write a script. You should write a script. And no, I don't want to be somebody that I'm not. I don't want to sound like a robot. I'm going to be who I am. People watch it and they watch it. If they don't, then they don't. But I'm going to give my all in my way. Eventually, I got better and better. And it's one of those things that I stay true to that. You get to see somebody's growth. Like so many people have it in their mind that you have to be perfect before you can start. And I just started and I wanted to be transparent. So I give you my, I don't hold nothing back. I feel like if I teach you step for step for free how to do something, the 10% that will stick with it, I'm gonna change people's lives. And that's what this brand is about. It's being legendary. It's leaving a legacy behind. And the more lives you can touch and help, that's what it's about. So I used to have trolls in the beginning like that would say, hey, the game is to be sold, not told. What are you doing? Oh man, you're a disgrace and all this crazy stuff. But it doesn't mean nothing to me. If you're worried about that, you're worried about the wrong things. Because barbers don't give themselves enough credit. If you are a skilled barber, it took you years of honing your craft, of practicing, cutting thousands of heads. Your average Joe Schmo, if he sticks with it and he does 1,000 haircuts and gets as good as we are, more power to him. You're changing the industry in a positive way. But most people are not going to do that. So that's how I look at it.
So Christian, you was encouraged by Chris to start your own channel. Tell me a little bit about your personal channel. What you do differently maybe from Chris.
The same in reference to conceptually, the way that I do my tutorials. I don't hold anything back, very open about it, step-by-step tutorials. But I did mine a little bit different in the sense that I wanted to make my intros a little more fun. So I put myself out there. I get some trolls, but it's okay. It's just fun. I just wanted to have fun with my intros and just make people laugh. And I didn't feel like learning had to be, I wouldn't say boring, but just fun, something lighten it up a little bit. So other than that, I try and be as transparent as possible. He taught me a lot in reference to that. I remember my very first video wasn't great, and I remember getting, talking on the phone with him, and he told me my excuse was my first video, like your first video. He's like, no, I kind of laid down the breadcrumbs, so don't settle, but at the same time be yourself. And I try to mirror that as well. With my voiceovers, I try to be perfect. I try to read a script. It just didn't flow. It didn't feel right. If anybody's watched the videos, which I know a lot of people have, that's a dumb thing to say. You hear his kids in the background, his wife, and it's okay. It's life. We have kids. A lot of our subscribers have kids. And I remember stressing that. I need perfect silence. I'm gonna go sit in my car, in my truck. I turn the AC off, and I got to do this voiceover really quick. And I'd say probably about 6 months in, I just said, you know what? I just want to have fun with this. I'm going to be myself. If you hear my kids, you hear my kids. If I make a fool of myself, I make a fool of myself. If you laugh, you laugh. Laugh at me, that's okay. But I just want to keep providing value and just keep doing things a little bit different, but teaching people how to cut hair and change their lives.
Okay, and one thing I will add, if you've seen either of the two Chris's channels, you'll know that they don't hold back. They give you everything. Lots of things that people would charge you for, they'll give you for free, and that comes from their heart, and they don't actually expect anything back other than the testimonial to say, you changed my life or you changed my game. And these guys will go out to help you if you are in that 5% that do genuinely want to change their life. Okay, so the big question, you guys are so transparent, you're so out there on YouTube. When are you going to show up and do live shows? Because you seem very elusive when it comes to live shows.
Yeah, we have, our time is spread really thin right now. Not because, it's not a priority to us. We just, we have the product line, the barbershops, YouTube. I don't want to hurt YouTube. I don't know if you guys know, Larry, you know this. It takes hours and hours and hours just in edit one video. And if you guys see our videos, they're pretty good production videos. Like it's not like not in a camera phone. We use good cameras and stuff, and it takes a long time. So we don't want to take away from anything that we're already doing. And like Larry said, it's not about the money for us. It is about the legacy for us. We had money before the YouTube channels. We already had the barbershops going. We were already doing pretty, I would say, successfully behind the chair. But it was more so what's fulfilling to me is going to these shows, and all these people coming up to me and letting me know how much we've inspired or we've helped them. And I see the industry growing towards the right direction. So for us, that's priority. If we can squeeze some classes in or some seminars in, we will. One of the things we've looked into doing is letting subscribers vote and doing a thank you tour. So the thank you tour is just thanking people, who've been on the journey with us. And we might be, planning to do something maybe around a few cities, a few other countries, but right now there's no word on that. I don't really know.
I don't know yet.
Okay, so if it's not going to be the live
we give it all for free,
and seminars, what about a DVD course?
Everybody asks me for DVDs. We do Instagram live streams too, and on the live streams, I promise you every live stream, hey, you got any DVDs come out? I get emails, I get messages, and that's another thing. Like maybe in the future, but every time my reply is, I give it all to you for free.
Basically,
Okay.
So we literally. He talks about the Instagram live feeds. It's not just the YouTube videos. We literally, for what was it, like 5 months, did Instagram live feeds where we would shut down the shop at the end of the day and do free hands-on classes with students or whoever wanted to come, existing barbers, whoever. And, we would put it on Instagram live and hands-on for free.
We allowed anyone, regardless of what barbershop you worked at, regardless of what school you went to, whoever you were, to come to our barbershop Saturday nights. Bring a model with you, and I'll do hands-on workshops. And we're doing it for free.
Like it doesn't get more free than that. Like we're staying after work.
You might as well register a barber charity.
But might as well. And not just hands-on with haircuts too, but networking and how to build clientele and how to set up your IG correctly. It wasn't just the hands-on haircutting. It was a lot of other stuff. How to conduct yourself, how to be a professional. I mean, something as little, and people say it all the time, but it's a key thing for me and Bossio knows that. Greeting people and saying goodbye to people. I can't stand that whole aura in barbershops where barbers got to feel a certain way because you say goodbye to their customer. I was raised in a way to say hello and goodbye to everybody. It's very simple. And it just makes the customer feel welcome.
And there's nothing wrong with charging for education. I'll still pay for education. There's a few classes that I'm going to pay for it and go check out. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, this is my passion. Like, it's, the whole work-life balance thing, that's another thing. A lot of people will say, I work so hard and how do I have time to do everything? And I tell people it's just, I live a life balance. And, it's one of the things I came up with when people ask me that question. And it's more so, you guys will go play 2K when you get home from work because that's what you enjoy doing. I really will stay after work and shoot a YouTube video because that's what I love to do. That's what I enjoy. So, it's genuinely, just doing what I love doing and putting it out to the world and getting the response that we get. And we've turned it into a little bit of a business, but it was organically there. It wasn't a plan. So we stick to that. We stay true to that. If DVDs come, they come. If not, then it's not a big deal.
Okay, so let's move on to something that you do sell, which is Tomb 45.
Yeah.
And Tomb 45 isn't just any name. It's got a significant meaning behind it. Could one of you guys explain the deep meaning behind it?
So Tomb 45 I came up with because I'm sure like a lot of you guys, when you tell your parents that you're going to be a barber and they expect so much more of you, like I don't know if you know this, Larry, but I got a basketball scholarship, a full ride to play basketball. And I did, and I quit after a year, and I went to barber school. That was the most depressing thing I could ever tell my dad. So, like, for the first 2 years I was a barber, he would tell my family in Colombia and in Puerto Rico that I was an engineer. He wouldn't tell them I'm a barber. And it's one of those things that, it just, barbering wasn't getting the respect that I felt it deserved, and it's because there's not a lot of information out there about it. So I did a little bit of history check, and 5,000 years ago during ancient Egypt, Egyptian times, there was a barber, Barberman, and to this day he has a statue in the museum of the University of Pennsylvania. The man was given a tomb when in those days the only people who got a tomb were priests, royalty, or high society. This man had a tomb, and back then they numbered tombs. Every tomb has a number. Barberman Mayet's number was tomb 45. So it's paying homage to that. It's showing people that there's where we started was a respectful craft, and it's bringing that back. So that's the culture we're trying to drive.
Well, building a legacy and dying a legend. And like he said, not just in reference to where Barber started, but where you started doesn't necessarily mean where you have to end up at.
Yeah.
Now, legend.
Long story short, now my dad tells my family I'm a barber. Now he's proud to say I'm a barber. There's a funny video that I'm gonna release pretty soon of him actually coming into the shop and grabbing some clippers and cutting one of the barber's hairs there. He loves it now. So
He's sold.
he's sold, absolutely sold.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the range from Tomb 45. What products does it actually consist of?
So we consider ourselves a product line, but we started off in humble beginnings in my kitchen. Literally, I literally Googled how to make hair products, and the one that was recommended to me, because listen, I didn't plan on making a product line. I did want to travel to like the Orlando premiere, for example, and teach a class. So I reached out to them and I asked them, how could I teach a class, a free class? And they told me I had to have a booth. I said, okay, how much is a booth? They told me an astronomical number that I couldn't even wrap my mind around. And now I realize why people can afford to have the booths was because of products, and that's how they got their classes. So I went, I told these guys, I told Perez and Danny about it, and they're like, let's do it. What are you talking about? He said, it's in 30 days, right? I said, yeah. We don't even have a product. So the subscribers on my channel actually recommended me to make a shave gel because I've always talked about shave gels on my channel. So Google and YouTube taught me how to make shave gel. And I literally, for those first 30 days, did not sleep. I formulated it, made it the way I wanted to, would go to different barbershops, to all of our barbershops, have them try it out. Other people's barbershops have them try it out, trial and error. We came up with the product that we have now that I love. I feel like it's the best shave gel for me, and I've enjoyed making it. The journey has been crazy. 30 days later, we have a booth at the Orlando premiere, and we launched our business. So the product line, I like to say, it's just shave gels right now, shave gels, razors, and apparel, because we did start in the kitchen, Now we have, we actually have the warehouse and all that stuff, but it's going to grow into waxes, pomades, hair gels, everything to do with barbering. We expect to go above and beyond that to clippers and wherever we can, take the sky's the limit. I believe. I want to break down barriers that haven't been broken down. I want to be an innovator in the industry. I want to take it to places that companies in the hairstyling industries have taken.
So there's a good video on his channel that documents that 30 days. It's his path to 100,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah.
It breaks down and it kind of documents that journey in those 30 days. Like you said, that there was no product, there was no label, there was no bottle, and from that to 2,500 bottles, hand pumping, capping, putting little stickers on there.
We literally had all
the
wives.
We had our models. It was a collaborative team work. Just everybody was in. It was a really cool experience.
Have you still got some of those
now.
left?
Huh?
Have you still got some of those left that you?
The original ones?
The original ones. Yes.
I have the original one to the one we did next, to the one we did next, to the first label that we tried, and everybody's like, "That's ugly."
Yeah.
To the next label, and we came up with the product we have now.
When he first did it, the color wasn't green. I'm gonna leave it at that.
It wasn't even clear.
It wasn't clear. We're just leaving it at that. I was like,
it looked like white gunk.
I was like, white is not gonna work, bro.
And it's funny because like sometimes I will do classes. They're free classes. They're free. But
Keyword.
We would go to a barber school, and people would ask us, well, to start off, how'd you get the plants, the plant that you have? How'd you get all the machinery and all this stuff? And I'm like, no, that's not what we did. Like, people cannot rap. It's not the
You
answer.
used to
People,
oust the mixer.
yeah, it's a hand mix. Yeah, that's how we started. The
Literally.
cake mixer, like, we literally started that way. And that's not the answer people want. People want to be like, okay, so you raised capital, you got this warehouse, now you brought in all these machines and stuff. That's what people want to hear. That's not our reality. And we've done pretty good. We've been in business now 10 months, 11 months, and it's been great, man. We've been blessed.
Okay, so let's close on physical products. You've got a strap line going across your t-shirt, Die a Legend.
Die a Legend.
This is your strap line. Tell me a little bit about this.
For me, it's one of those things that, like he said earlier, I am not the type of person that wants to wait on anything. I don't want to prepare for nothing. I'll fail 1,000 times and I'll learn as I go, because I don't feel like time is a commodity. Time is more important than money to me. It's more important than fame, than anything. And you can't get that back. So for me, you got to do as much as you can possibly do, because the last thing I want to do is pass away and my children's children don't even know who I am. My children's children will never even hear my name. And people will not even, like, I have friends who have passed away, and 2 years later, you remember, and then you go visit their Facebook page because they were somebody that you care dearly about, and nobody comments about them, nobody talks about them. You're just not remembered anymore. And I feel like life is so good. Life is such a great thing. We are so lucky to have life. And if you don't do it to the fullest, how could you leave a legacy? How could you do what Barberman Mayette did? Die a legend. Do more, right?
Yeah.
I think it's in all of us, right?
That's really good that you've got that product, because it's like, as you grow, it's going to be like thousands of those names staring you in the face. It becomes like an affirmation. You just can't get away from it.
Absolutely. And I didn't plan this, but I love the fact that, like I told you about my YouTube channel, how I started horrible lighting, videography, everything you're not supposed to do, I did. Stuttering, repeating things. I want to blow 245 up. I want to blow headlines up. I want people to be able to see the journey and be able to go back to my channel, to that first video, and see what's possible by just having a sense of urgency, by just wanting to die a legend, wanting to be legendary. So
And doing something.
And don't get it right, get it going.
Exactly. Get it going.
I like that. You've spoken a lot about your growth within the industry. You've spoken about your products and your philosophies and your theory. What is it you're loving about the industry directly at the moment, on the whole, the industry?
I just love the growth. I love the growth and the direction it's going in. I remember when I was in barber school, I remember going to the Orlando premiere and kind of being shocked at the sheer mass of people. And I remember going and I wondered, where are the barbers at? Where are the sections with the barbers at? And Bossio was the same way. We went, a couple years later after I was in barber school, we ended up working in the same shop. We went together, and it was a little more, but still, it was like, where are the barbers? Like, I'm hungry for knowledge. Where are these booths? Where are the barbers? And it was all cosmetologists. And from that point to here, I'm sure Bossio can agree, it's grown. It's massive. It's insane, the amount of growth. Just that, I just love the growth about the industry.
I love the fact that there are barbers that really are entrepreneurs. That word gets thrown around too lightly in the barber industry. Just because you're a barber does not automatically make you an entrepreneur. You cannot hate on somebody who is branding themselves on Instagram, getting paid by brands to promote their products. That's a beautiful thing, and it wasn't available for barbers 10 years ago. The fact that that's available now, just like it is in any other industry, is amazing to me. It shows me the growth that this industry. It shows me the different ways you can take this. Like, you can be somebody that's behind a chair and be crazy successful, charging $40, $50 a haircut. You could be somebody who does 200 haircuts a week. You could be somebody who creates a product line and sells products. You could be somebody who starts a barber school or a hair school or a chain of barber shops. There's so many places you can take this. You could literally just travel and be a platform artist. The fact that all those little lanes are there today is amazing to me. And I think the lanes are going to get wider and wider. There's going to be much more opportunity, and that's just going to grow the industry as a whole. And it's gonna give respect back, the industry. So I'm loving it. I'm loving the growth. Seeing the CT Barber Expo, if you weren't here, it's amazing. Amazing. That's where reality sets in. You figure out that you're in such a beautiful place. So
I love touching on what he said. Just the different verticals now. Before it was just literally behind the chair. There's so many different verticals now that are going to continue to grow. And as he said, CT is crazy. And the respect that barbers are starting to get now. Mm-hmm. One thing that me and him touch on a lot, it's cool to be a barber.
You know how many 16-year-old kids are here at this show? Yeah. And they're like, Chris, I want to be a barber. Yeah. He's like, they'll be like, I'm trying to convince my parents to just let me drop out and go to barber school. I'm like, dude, relax, calm down.
Chill. You got a couple more years, bro, relax.
You haven't experienced nothing yet. But that wasn't heard of 10 years ago. You never saw kids like excited to see you because you've inspired them to be something cool that's just like, it wasn't cool. It wasn't that cool before, but whatever. I mean, like regular people who are not barbers want to rock barber brands.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, insane. And one of the things that we love to say to each other all the time, or not to each other, but in general, is we're not just barbers. I hate that phrase. Yeah. My wife gets asked all the time, what's your husband do? He's a barber. Oh, he's just a barber. Like almost like they feel bad for her. It just blows my mind. I'm not just a barber. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a father. I'm passionate. There's 10,000 different things that barbers are made up of. So we're not just barbers.
And just quickly, what do you think could kill off the industry? What practices or people or?
One of the things I want to clear up real quick is just I don't pay attention to negativity because I think this is going to happen regardless. There's a lot of trolls in the industry. There's a lot of people who don't like they don't like certain lanes, but every other lane is okay. And it's like, that's ridiculous to me. So right off the bat, like, no matter how much negativity you have and you hate on what's going on in the industry, it's not gonna stop. Like, it's gonna continue to grow. So stop complaining, man. But I think that there's nothing really that can do it. I mean, I had people ask me what happens if Justin Bieber style comes back. It's like, what? I started barbering in 2008, 2007 during the recession. During the recession, when Justin Bieber was popular, when everybody was getting cornrows, when
everybody's losing their homes.
Everybody's losing their homes, their jobs. Guys, the industry's not going nowhere. Just enjoy it, make the most out of it, and just stop complaining. Just stop complaining. That's my biggest issue right now, because this is the best you're gonna get. It's not gonna get worse. So it's not gonna stop growing. No point in complaining.
And in the thick of all of that, with all those things that he said was going on that did affect the industry, he followed his number one rule: first in, last out, and he was booked in 4 months, 5 months. He was
during the worst times ever.
Every day he was booked.
Because you don't complain. You don't look at the negative things.
I don't accept negativity.
Yeah. So I would say what could kill the industry would be lack of ambition. People buying into all that negativity. That, to wrap it up, that's what I would say.
Or sadly, complacency.
Okay. So, in closing, what words of advice would you give to that barber who wanted to change his luck and, move to the next level or move to the highest level possible? What kind of practices or engagements would be good for him?
Take shots.
Well, number one, you gotta understand and think like a businessman, right? So there are people who complain about, for example, barbers who are sponsored, they don't believe should be sponsored. Well, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing if you want to be in that place. So number one for me is you gotta put yourself out there. You need to be transparent and you gotta do more. Stop thinking so much and do more action, right? So don't be the guy who talks about being the first one in the shop, the last one to leave. You got to do it, and you got to stay consistent with it. So I would say it's action. It's action over everything, man. And stop trying to figure things out and just do it. Learn from your failures. Don't be afraid from your failures. And
I agree. It's just like when you first start off with that guy in barber school, I was afraid to do, I don't remember Mohawks.
Yeah.
If I didn't do Mohawks, I was never going to learn to get better. So, like you said,
I was petrified of straight razors.
yes.
I was so afraid of straight razors because I went to
One of our
in
mentors.
my barber school. The culture was, that's another point that I would touch on. The culture was no straight razors. Why do straight razors? They cut just zero gap your trimmers, and I let the culture and that I was in dictate my future. So when I get into the real world and I have to do straight razors, I'm like this. Shaking.
Literally
When I
shaking.
knew that's what my reality was gonna be after barber school, and one of the barbers that had been there a long time, I told him about it, and he looks at me dead in the eye and says,
This guy was about as transparent as it could be.
"That's pathetic." I said, "I'm new." He's like, "That's pathetic."
No,
I can't
you're a
believe
barber?
it. Yeah. So don't let your culture dictate your future. Whatever situation you're in now, that's another thing. A lot of people complain about, but in my city, the culture's not really there. Barbers don't want to do it. What does that have to do with you? It has nothing to do with you. I got news flash for you. That's how it is in every city. That's why the CT Barber Expo has people from everywhere. People from London. There was another guy from London. Do you know him, Larry, by any chance? The guy from London that I gave him a compliment on his jacket.
Chan.
Yeah, he was out here. There's people from everywhere.
All
It's
over the
like,
world.
this isn't because Connecticut, because Hartford has so much culture. It's just one person created something that he wanted to see happen, and he attracted the right people. Just how we think about our barbershops. We just attract barbers. There's barbers who move from other cities just to work at Headlines. So don't let the culture that you're in dictate your future.
Take shots. Take shots. Don't be afraid of failure. I mean, you're gonna mess people's haircuts up. You're gonna get better. Just keep repetition. Take shots. The shave gel wasn't what it is today. The first day he tried it, it just wasn't.
And there's no noteworthy success without failure. So, gentlemen, we're going to close on that note. Thank you ever so much for sharing your words of wisdom. I'm sure you filled the gap for lots of barbers all around the world that were kind of stuck in certain areas. They had a fear, and there's that acronym that fear is false evidence that appears real, and you've kind of smashed that notion. So they should, after watching this, be able to go to the places that they want to go. Guys, keep doing what you're doing. Tomb 45, look out for it, guys. You know where it started, and after this interview, you know where it's going. So we're out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.